So at the moment I'm just heading into Glasgow Royal Infirmary for my yearly checkup. I had a CT scan probably about 3 weeks ago, and this is me going in to get the result. About 2.5 years ago I was having some problems. I'm not going to go into the gory details, but I was having some problems with the toilet and stuff, and I was having some blood. Now I had a similar thing a few years previous to that, and it turned out to be something really minor. So when I went to the GP sort of put my mind at rest and said, I don't think it'll be anything serious, but we'll send you for the camera. And I thought, okay, so that was fine. It took quite a long time for this appointment. He did put it through as urgent, but it still took quite a long time for the camera, for it to take place. So when I went and saw the oncologist, they put the camera in and came out. I would reckon about a minute, less than a minute. He took the camera back out and he said, I want to speak to you and your partner. And I thought, oh, what's this? So he said to me right there and then, you have a massive tumour and it's cancer. Now I don't know how he could say that, but he was pretty confident. And he said, I hope you haven't got any holidays booked, because we're going to have to do something fairly soon. It was a strange feeling, because I didn't really feel panicked or worried, or it took a while for that to sink in. And then eventually I became quite emotional about it, and I couldn't quite understand why I was emotional. And I think it was more for the people around me. I don't think I was too worried about myself. Not that I was wanting to die or anything like that, or had any kind of wishes of not being here. But I think I felt it for the people around me, people that I was close to, because I could see that they were worried and that they were affected by it. So one of the things I decided to do was to try and do as much as I could for myself. Now I know everybody's circumstances is different with cancer, and sometimes you can maybe do something about it and sometimes you can't, and I'm coming from a completely non-expert point of view. And I did ask the consultant, what can I do to help myself? And I was drawing a blank quite a lot of the time, because they wouldn't really give me any information, and I'm realising they probably didn't give me any information because they didn't want to be liable. Because I'm asking them things about supplements, I'm asking them things about lifestyle, and they're not really telling me anything. And of course I'm frantically looking through YouTube and through the net, joining groups. I joined a group, Bowel Cancer Recovery, or Bowel Cancer Diagnosis, whatever it was, I can't remember, on Facebook, and it was probably the worst thing I'd done. I was just constantly seeing so-and-so has now passed away, and so-and-so is now going into stage 4. It was actually quite depressing. I was finding it really hard. So I decided that the only thing that the consultant would tell me was that there was some evidence that exercise is useful. So I got on my bike, literally, my push bike that is, And I started cycling miles as much as I could. I don't know how much I did, but I did quite a lot of cycling. I got really fit. And I was going through all these other scans and blood tests and different things, and they can't tell you anything until you get the operation. I was told I would need an operation. They would need to cut this tumour out, and they would need to take a section of my bowel out while they did it, obviously. And they wouldn't be able to tell if it had spread until the biopsy of this after this operation. So I think this was about August time, and my operation was the 4th of October. And in the meantime, I'd changed my diet. I stopped eating anything with sugar or any kind of artificial sugar, and constantly exercised, yoga, cycling, did what I could. Now I got really fit. I went in for the operation the 4th of October 2022, and I was told that I may have a colostomy bag, depending on how the operation goes. So I was in 7 o'clock in the morning, on the trolley. The anaesthetist is giving me the little mask over my nose. And he asked me to count to 10. I don't know, I think I got to about 3 or something, and then next thing I know I'm being wakened up. Now when I wakened up, I didn't feel anything, but I started to feel my stomach area, started to pat it, and I said to him, "No bag," and he went, "No bag." So I was really delighted at that. And I was up my tree with drugs, I don't know whatever it is they give me, but I remember laughing with the nurses and saying, "How are you?" And I'm saying, I'm great. I was totally out of my face with whatever it was the drugs were. But over the next morning was a different story. I could feel it. It was a 5-hour operation. I could feel the consequences of that. But I was determined, and I got up the next day. I got up on my feet. The nurses were trying to get me to lie down, but I refused, and I took the trolleys and the tubes and I went to the bathroom. I never done anything, but I wasn't going to use the pad in the bed. They told me that would be okay, but I refused to do that, and I got up and I walked in there. And the consultant had come around. It wasn't my own consultant, it was another one. I think it was the day after, and I was sitting cross-legged on bed. They'd taken some of the tubes out by that time, I think. And he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing sitting up?" And I said, "I feel fine." Now, I could have got out the next day. The problem was I had the beginnings of an infection. My temperature was going up. So that was that. And I tell you, I found it really hard. Mentally, I found it really hard to be in hospital. They moved me into a little ward of 4, and some of these guys, every one of them were worse off than me. I have to say that. One guy was in there for months. Another guy had been in for months, had been out, and then was back in again. And I was just so grateful that I was in the condition I was in. And it's funny, I've never really dwelled on this too much. I've continued to look after myself as much as I can. I've continued to do well with my diet and stuff, and reduce my stress, and I've made some life changes since. It's over 2 years ago now. And as I say, now I'm going in for the result. Last year there was a scare. They thought they'd found something in my lungs, but it turned out it was just old scarring, but it was okay. This year, who knows? But life is, who knows what life is about. I don't know what life's about. I just take it a day at a time and do my best within that day. So we'll see I'm just about to arrive at the hospital, and we'll see how it goes when I come back out, what the consultant says. Well, that was pretty much a non-event. They never had the results of my scanning. So I suppose it's part of the sort of mental gymnastics that goes on with this stuff, because you're never sure, you're never sure what's happening. And I was an hour late to get seen, but to give the NHS their due, I mean, they're so busy. And the wee nurse kept coming out and asking if everybody was okay and if they wanted a drink of water, and apologising for the clinic running late. And they're just so nice, they're so good. It's impossible to be annoyed with it. So I never saw my own consultant either. I saw another chap who was very nice, but he didn't seem to be aware that I had a scan, and when he went through the system, as he put it hadn't been reported yet. So they'll write to me. They don't write to me, but in the meantime they took blood tests and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I'm completely fine with it. I'm completely fine. I feel okay with it. I'd rather if they had had the scan and could say to me, well, everything's okay, or everything's not okay, whatever. It's working with that unknown again, and then that's where it's back to just living your life a day at a time, living your life for today. So I'm over here just now. I'm at a care home. I'm in to see a good friend of mine who's been in here a wee while, and I know that he really appreciates the visit. So I'm pleased to be sitting down here. And I don't know whether I'll put this out as a video or not. If I do, then fine. I might wait till I get the letter or it might be just one of those things. But anyhow, it's good to be alive. It's good to be in the game of life for another day.